part of the class, I want to dedicate about the energy of the month that we just started. The month of ECC, the sign of Taurus, just started on Sunday, and today we're in the third day of the month of ECC. Month of ECC is considered to be the month of light and the month of healing. ECC has 4 letters of Aleph, Yud, Yud, Resh, and it stands for I am the God who brings healing. So the Kabbalist takes the concept that this month is the month of healing. The very first book that we have in Hebrew, the very first written document that we have in Hebrew called Sefer Yetzirah. Yetzirah means formation. Sefer is the book of formation. And they give the credit of the author of this book to Abraham Avinu. It's what we have from Abraham Avinu. And it's a small book, and it talks about the months, the sign of zodiac, the planets, the energy of the sign of zodiac, and the whole concept of the Hebrew calendar. And Abraham Avinu goes to the details, a very complicated Kabbalistic text it is, and it goes into the details that the Hebrew alphabet, as we have learned in previous classes, that Hebrew alphabets, not only they're the tools of the language, but they have the power of creation. When God wanted to create the whole world, He used the energy consciousness of the Hebrew alphabet, and He created the world. We know that the human being, we have DNA, what we call DNA forces, and there are 4 DNA forces. The 4 amino acid, ATCG, that is the building body of the human being. There are 4 amino acid or 4 DNA force that creates the human being. We learn from Book of Formation, Sefer Yetzirah, that the DNA force of the creation is 22. 22. And these 22 Hebrew letters are the 22 DNA force that create everything that we see in the world of physicality and even in the world of metaphysicality. So God created the creation with using the Hebrew alphabet. And each Hebrew alphabet has an extraordinary power to it, has an extraordinary consciousness, energy to it. In the Book of Formation, Abraham Avinu explains that the letter Pei is, where we have Pei? Here. Letter Pei was the DNA force that created the planet of Venus. In Hebrew is Noga, planet of Noga. The planet of Venus is the planet that rules in the month of ECC. We have 10 planets in the Milky Way, and 7 of these planets have direct influence on each month. Venus rules or powers or influence the month of ECC. And the letter that created the planet of Noga or planet of Venus is the letter Pei. And if you look at the letter Pei, you see the letter Bet inside of it. Letter Bet inside the Pei. Now, there is another letter that Abraham Avinu explains, letter Vav. Letter Vav is, where do you have? Right here. It's the Yud, it's the extended Yud. Letter Vav created the constellation of Taurus. What do we mean by constellation of Taurus? During the month of ECC, all the planets, they have their own position and they move constantly. The way that they form, the planets form, these 7 planets that form during the month of Taurus, they call it constellation. And each constellation has a name. And all these names was named with Abraham Avinu. Abraham Avinu named all the constellation. He named all the planets. And Abraham Avinu says that the letter Vav created the constellation of Taurus. And it's a month of healing too. I know it's a little bit technical, but the more you know it, the more you connect to this month. If you know what this month brings, what is the gift of this month, then you can take advantage of it. If you know what's available in this month, then you can make use of it. And we have the 4 letter of the God's name, which is Yud K Vav K. Everybody knows that, right? The 4 letter of Yud K Vav K. Ari Agadosh explains that these combination of the Yud K Vav K changes every month. Because Yud represents Chokhmah, Hey represents Bina, Vav represents Ze'er Anpin, and the last Hey represents Malchut. So we have 10 Sefirot. We have 10 energy consciousness, 10 level of consciousness. Yud represents Chokhmah, Hey represents Bina, Vav, which is 6, the numerical of Vav is 6, represents Ze'er Anpin, which is Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and the last Hey of the Yud K Vav K represents Malchut, which is our physical world. Only during the month of Nisan, the formation of this name is in order. When we, on the night of Passover, we create Seder plate. Seder means order. And the order comes because the name of the Yud K Vav K during the month of Nisan is properly located. It's Yud K Vav K. But every month, the formation of these energy changes. The month of IYAR, this formation of the energy becomes the shape of Yud, Hey, Hey, Vav. And then Ari explains that because of formation of Yud, Hey, Hey, Vav, the energy that manifests in this month becomes clear in this month is the energy of wisdom. Wisdom. Understanding. Understanding. And again, I said Vav creates the constellation of Taurus. Vav, which represents Ze'er Anpin, represents 6 Sefirot, 6 different energy. It also represents, it's the Yud, which is the light force of God, and it's extended. That means it creates continuity of life. Almost all of the columns of the Sefer Torah starts with Vav, except few places that it starts with a different letters, like the Bet. Torah starts with a Bet. But almost all the columns of the Torah, except a few places, by design, starts with Vav. Because Vav represents the light force. So every time we read from the Torah, the first letter is the Vav that generates the light force into our life. Now, Avraham Avinu explains that Vav, that creates life force, creates the constellation of Taurus too. And what does it mean? He says that Vav creates this energy, Kar Hir Hu, which is the spark of wisdom, spark of information. Let me make it a little bit easy to understand. Sometimes you have a challenge and you don't know what to do with it. You want to solve a situation, but you don't know where to start. You want to create a relationship, but you don't know how to create that relationship. You want to start a business, you don't know how to start a business. You want to step into something, but you don't know how to step in. That spark of information that comes to your head to do whatever you want to do is the energy that comes during the month of Taurus. That sparks of, I got it. I know what to do. All of a sudden, this intuition comes to your mind. that makes things clear for you. Oh, I know what to do with it. Oh, I know how to solve it. Oh, I understand. When things become clear, that sparks of light that makes things clear for you, bring wisdom to you, brings understanding to you, is the energy of the month of IYAR. Again, the whole concept of healing, and when we say healing, we don't mean just physical healing. Physical healing is the secondary. The healing of the consciousness, the healing of mind. When a mind thinks right, when the mind is connected to the light force, that everything comes after. The healthy body comes after a healthy mind. The healing of the consciousness is during this month too. There is another phenomenon in this month that Ari explains to us. We know that Miriam, sister of Moshe Rabbeinu, there was a well of water that was with Miriam during the time that she was with the Bnei Israel. When they left Egypt and they traveled through the desert, there was a well of water that traveled with Miriam. And people used this well for both spiritual and physical need. The Kabbalists explain this well of water, the well of Miriam's water, had the energy of not only healing, but understanding too. Understanding too. And when Miriam died, the well of water disappeared too. Ari explains that the energy of the well of Miriam, because it was created in the month of IYAR, it exists in the month of IYAR. Ari Agadosh has a student called Rabbi Chaim Vital. He has one special student, which is Rabbi Chaim Vital. And he explains, Rabbi Chaim Vital explains, every time that Ari would teach Rabbi Chaim Vital something, and Rabbi Chaim Vital would not understand it, wouldn't grasp it, it was too complicated. Maybe like tonight what I'm explaining might be a little bit too complicated, too technical. Ari would take Rabbi Chaim Vital to the Sea of Galilee, the Kinneret, and he would take it to the part of the Kinneret, the Sea of Galilee, and he knew exactly where the well of Miriam is located in that sea, and he would give a glass of that water to Rabbi Chaim Vital, and Rabbi Chaim Vital would drink it, and all of a sudden he would say, "Oh, I got it! Now I understand." So what exists in this month, what was created in this month, is the energy of understanding, energy of the seed level of understanding things. Things when things become clear. The answer to your question is in this month. Rabbi Ashlag explains something phenomenal. He says every time that we have pain, usually when we have pain, when there is suffering, the reason for suffering, the reason for disappointment, for the reason for being upset, is because we don't see the big picture. Something happens to you, and you don't understand. I come in, and I yell at you guys. And you don't know why am I yelling at you guys. Or you run into a situation that you don't understand, and you become upset, you become sad, you become disappointed. A challenge comes to your life. And because you don't understand it, chances are that you become sad, you become disappointed, you become afraid of that situation. It's not, the source of it is because we don't understand what's happening. We don't understand what's going on most of the time. It's because of not understanding the situation, not seeing the big picture. When we don't understand why things happen in our life, why am I born in this family? Why am I in this situation? Why I have such talents and why I lack such talent? When I don't understand it, it becomes a burden. I may get sad, I may get upset, I may get disappointed, I may get afraid, I may not have enough confidence. All that is because of lack of understanding the situation. Rabbi Ashlag explains that month of ER is the source of understanding why things happen to us in our life. Why we are. What are we doing here? Why things happen. Rabbi Ashlag explains that one of the things that the negative energy does, we may call it Satan. He wants to diminish the understanding of who you are. Diminish the potential of who you are. By you not totally understanding your potential, then you don't reach to your potential. What Satan does is diminish that understanding, this potential of your soul. And all this energy exists during the month of ER, during the month of Taurus. All this exists. It's part of the reality, of the physical reality of this month. And how do we reach it? If you have a desire for it. If you don't have a desire for it, you don't reach it. The fact that you're here tonight and you have a desire to understand something, that desire creates a situation for you to understand what's available. So again, I know I spoke a little bit technical, but I don't mind. The month of ER has the power of healing, especially the healing of consciousness, the clarity of the consciousness, and the power of understanding. Most important thing, understanding who we are, why we are, and what is my potential, and what am I supposed to do in this world. Satan wants to diminish your potential. Satan wants you to be passive. Satan rather you to stay in dark side, not knowing who you are and what is your potential. Month of ER, if you have the desire for it, you receive the energy to become clear, to receive the sparks of understanding who we are. Thank you.